Hi everyone, welcome to Levels, Levels Quarantine Edition. We're
Yeah.
doing the best we can over Skype and our use of technology. I'm Jeremy Long, and of course, I'm joined as always by the Sportsnista Cassandra Cusino. Cassandra, have you killed those children yet?
Happening, man. I'm putting them to work. But now I showed Jeremy, and I'm gonna share with you all the look at this, the quality of my headset and how raveled this is. This is a mirror, a reflection of my life right now. So everything is all wound up. So I haven't talked to an adult in a very long time. Yeah, they're just this whole homeschooling thing, man. Let's pay these teachers triple, whatever they want. As a matter of fact, if they want quadruple, give them quadruple.
They
They can
they
have
sh-
that.
at the very least they should get hazard pay because
Man.
this is and I have older ones. You have the younger ones. I have the older ones, and still, I'm about ready to ship one of them off to Nicaragua. So,
I told my 7-year-old that he's going to learn a life lesson that when you get smart with people at school, you get your butt kicked. So at 3 o'clock after school tomorrow, I'm going to wear him out outside. I'm going to have the little girl video it just like they would on the schoolyard. I was like, I'm kicking your butt after school, smart mouth boy. So we're going to see. He's actually taking his taekwondo lesson right now upstairs. So we're going to see like how much he learned in these past couple of years because I'm coming for him.
I'm going to inform you that your child may be being bullied at school. The bully has been described as a very feisty, tiny little woman.
There's a 5-foot bully in the second grade class, ma'am.
And she's also called the teacher. Oh man, so everyone's kind of in the same boat. We're all doing the best we can, doing the different things that we're doing. So, but we do have a little bit of MMA and boxing news. Not all of it good, but it's news nonetheless. So this is the part where we just forge ahead with what we have. But a little bit later, we're going to talk to our guy, KSNV main sports anchor Bryan Salmond. We're going to get his take on the whole Jon Jones situation that we're going to talk about, and of course the UFC 249 fallout. Khabib is stuck in Russia. It sounds like a Mission Impossible thing. Khabib is in Russia. We got to get him out. Otherwise,
We have to extract him.
Otherwise, this is the fifth time this fight is going to fall through. So, let's start right there, man. Khabib and Tony Ferguson for the fifth time is not going to
Man.
happen. This is the biggest fight that can happen, and it's seemingly cursed. What do you think? Is this fight cursed, or is this just one of these things?
Oh, it's got to be cursed by now, right? It's a pandemic. A global pandemic shut the fight down. This is insane, but Dana really wants to keep pushing and try to stage something. I thought it was going to end up in Florida. That's the state that was most open to spreading the coronavirus and having an event. So I assumed he was going to put it in the WWE. I guess their PI there. So I wouldn't have been surprised, but. Man, it's gotta be cursed. I had a thought the other day, though. I had many thoughts. What do you think? So Ramadan ends May 13th-ish or something like that, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around the second week of May. Why don't they just postpone it, the whole card until after Ramadan? So you might be able to get Habib out of there by then. Like, let's just be smart instead of trying to swim upstream. But Dano's just so stubborn about it.
Yeah, Dana's definitely one of those guys. When you tell him not to do something, he's going to do the best he can to do opposite of that and make these things happen. And of course, he met with the president, and the president assured him that everything was okay. So Dana forged ahead. Khabib is one of those guys. He doesn't, in another week, he's shutting it all down, right? He gets prepared for Ramadan, and
Yeah.
everything goes on stop. And he doesn't like to. He definitely doesn't fight during Ramadan. He doesn't like to fight right after it because he's still recovering, and it's that kind of thing. So if you put it off, I mean, you already have guys that haven't fought, and Tony that haven't fought in forever, and I know he's itching to get back in there and get back in this cage. So you may be in danger of losing that fight altogether anyway. But I'm kind of like you. I mean, I don't know at this point if you wouldn't just postpone this, because there's talk of Ferguson joining up, or meeting Justin Gaethje in the ring, among some other names that have been floating. But even though that would be really exciting, I don't think
I saw Poirier thrown in there too.
Yeah, Poirier threw his name in the ring and everything. As fun as those fights would be, and I do think those fights would be fun, it's still not the thing that we're looking forward to the most.
That is not the dance that you paid for. So I also think that, given the current health situation, anytime there's a fight, fighters get sent to the hospital. So why add that burden to an already stressed out hospital facility? In addition to that, you don't know what the extent of injuries are going to be. I mean, we know fighters get sent to the hospital all the time. So now unnecessarily, you're going to throw that into the mix. It's just wholly unnecessary. Unnecessary. Dana's got a very nice house and a nice backyard. Like, there might be some Vegas fighters who go and wrestle on his lawn or something. I don't know.
Well, they did just do. I mean, Chael Sonnen's group did have the grappling thing just a couple of days ago, and where were they? Like an empty warehouse or something, a pottery barn or something like that. They were in.
I don't know, West Elm. They're closing down these West Elms, and they jumped in there.
Yeah. It looked like where the barn from Arachnophobia or something like that. I don't know where they were, but they hold up somewhere and did some kind of submission grappling. But you know what? I don't like to bet against Dana White, but it's looking kind of hairy for UFC's and his promise to keep UFC 249 on track.
Food, it's a pandemic, and it's like we're not talking about like it's cold and flu season, or like the planes aren't flying it is a global pandemic, and there's people dying out here. Like, let's level set and focus on important stuff for a second. Let these fighters bypass in a place where their immune systems are most vulnerable, like when they're cutting weight. And then you got their people from their camp around, because how are you going to maintain, 6 feet of social distance? There's no way to do that. And then as, working for the UFC, if you're an employee, you are signing off to take that risk. For what? Right. I heard Dana say something about because he's on this diatribe about the media. The media doesn't pay their salaries, and the media, man, you really want to talk about not paying fighters? You want, does Dana White really want to talk about equitable exchange of currency for fighting? Because he could just pay them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dana had some choice words and about media members, and
whack.
Called him some names about not being tough. But this isn't a tough situation. This is not something we're gutting through or whatever. This is the health of people. And we actually talked to Marcus Berg, the attorney with Mossberg Injury Lawyers, who also sponsors our podcast here. We asked him a couple weeks ago the liability issue. Fighters are considered independent contractors, right? You don't have to show up if you don't want to show up. You're showing up because you do this and that and everything else. But what about those UFC employees that even the bare minimum of these that have to be there to put on a production, much less a pay-per-view, which requires a lot of people to put on, even on a skeleton crew, that's still a lot of people. These people, if they are told they have to show up, this is your job and you have to show up, and you get them sick or you expose them to this virus, and they in turn get family sick, family members sick, or friends sick, or whatever, or anyone else sick, how liable are you for any damages? God forbid someone dies. You are kind of opening yourself up to some potential lawsuits as well. I don't see at this point, we're all in the same boat. We're all dealing with the same thing. And I commend Dana White and I commend the UFC for trying to do everything they can to get fighters paid and to even entertain us, and sports friends or fans around the world. But at some point, it looks a little foolhardy.
And selfish. It definitely does look just selfish. So I did catch the WWE thing with Gronk a couple of weekends ago.
Uh-huh.
If that wasn't the silliest batch of nonsense I've seen, who was he like raising his hands to? He's coming out and he's all pumped up and looking around. Why didn't they just black out all of those empty seats? They put more spotlights on it. It was so stupid.
Whoever, look, all these pay-per-views and events like this, they all have directors. They all have producers. And for the most part, these men and women, they stay in the shadows. You always maybe see their name on the credits or something like that. Whoever produced that, whether it was Vince's call or whoever's call,
terrible.
I'm not saying anyone needs to be fired right now because a lot of people are being laid off. But someone needs a stern talking to and maybe you need to meet them by the monkey bars 3:00 after you whoop up on your son. You can whoop up on them. Because it's just ridiculous. I caught part of it too. I'm a wrestling fan. And I caught part of it and was like, they should have canceled this. They should have never moved forward with this. This is so dumb.
Terrible. Or at least black out this empty seats. Why is there a spotlight on them?
Pro wrestling, and this is pro wrestling already requires a degree of, you got to let some of the reality go, right? You're watching staged fights. You're watching storylines unfold in a violent fashion, basically. So, so it's already a little ridiculous when but you figure out how important a crowd is to suspending that disbelief, to the energy to something, to the emotional tie to something. And when you remove all that, and then, like you said, when you go and you highlight that, then it just boggles the mind. Hey, did you guys forget? Did you guys forget? Ain't nobody behind us. Hey.
So you've got Dana on one side trying to bulldoze his way into an event, and then you have WWE on the other side actually holding an event. Was that a live event with Rhonda a couple of days ago?
Yeah. I think so.
It's too much. All right, so there's got to be a middle ground where perhaps you can do something somewhere, but neither of those two things, a whole full-out event and one staged with all these lights showing empty seats, neither of those things are the right one to do.
Yeah, no. What I do think is that I believe these sports and loosely on sports entertainment there, but I believe this is the time where they will start to get these ideas. What worked, what didn't work.
Folks trying to collect a check, show some value.
If these things pop up again, if something happens, we've seen it happen to a smaller degree after 9/11. During the SARS pandemic in 2002, we saw varying degrees of this, but nothing to this level. I think if anything, it's going to change the way a lot of live sports entertainment companies do business, or at least should approach business, because you're really starting to see okay, this is a bad idea. These are terrible ideas, but hey, I commend them for wanting to entertain their audience. WrestleMania, for wrestling fans, that is the Super Bowl. That's where all of these things are supposed to pay off. So I appreciate their effort. I appreciate the time. And I appreciate that WWE went through what they went through to pay the people, because it wasn't only the wrestlers. It was the people behind the cameras and all the producers and all the people that are involved in that. It's just a little silly, and you need a better idea for if hopefully this never happens again. Better. But if it does happen again, do better than that. I don't know what the answer is, but do better than that. So speaking of doing better than that, let's talk about your guy, Jon Jones. Can't get right.
Can't do right. Can't do it.
He's
No
arrested March 26th for being drunk and allegedly shooting a gun around and driving around with open containers.
Well drunk.
What's the latest stuff you're reading and hearing about Mr. Jon Jones and the news that came down today?
And so he did get a little fine. I don't know what the amount was. He has to do some public service, and he got house arrest. Dude, right now we're all on house arrest. Join the crew. I can't go nowhere either. What are you talking about, man? This is a guy, until he is sat down, he's going to continue to do squirrely things. And I think this is an issue for fighters in general. A lot of them are in the profession because if they were not punching people in the face, they would be doing nefarious or reckless things. And you're going to start to see now these men and women with all this time on their hands. Although I saw that, squirrel, Michelle Watterson has found other things to do with her time. She's having a baby. So they found something else to do with their time instead of getting drunk and shooting things or shooting into the air. But back to Jon Jones. I'm going to put up a clip on my Instagram, and this was UFC 235. It was after the card was moved from Vegas to LA. Then he was back to Vegas for Santos fight, I believe it was. And it could be a clip that's applicable today. He said, "This is just another thing that's going to suck when it comes to my career." He wasn't even talking about this event. He's talking about something else, but it's deja vu. It's Groundhog Day with him. Right. It is always Groundhog Day with Jon Jones. And because he's so talented and he makes so much money for the promotion, and because his promoter, Dana White, has shown a propensity to look the other way when men and women, we haven't had a woman knucklehead yet, but I'm sure she's coming. But when the men of the promotion behave this way, it's all right because they want to handle it in-house. It's terrible. It's so frustrating to see him. I mean, so the report didn't necessarily say he was driving. He was in his car. So I'm not certain where he was when they got up to him. Yeah.
And I know they did have, they released the body cam footage and transcripts and all of that.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did you?
Yeah, I watched part of it. I think maybe TMZ had it, just like they have everything else. Of course. But it's really sad because I believe in part of the video after he's arrested, I think he starts crying, and I'm not making fun of a person at their lowest moment. It's one of those situations where at some point these are cries for help. This guy. has dependency issues, but nothing's going to change until he starts changing the people that are around him, the enablers, but I mean, you're talking about a young guy. He's still 31, 32, something like that, who has, like you said, millions of dollars. He has been an elite athlete for, basically his entire adult life. Who just can't seem to get out of his own way and can't get a handle on these situations. Chael Sonnen mentioned a while back, Chael and John fought a few years ago, and they kind of remained friends a little bit, love-hate relationship that Chael seems to have with everybody. But, he mentioned that, one of the things you could do to eliminate a lot of these issues right now is stop driving. You have millions of dollars. There's Uber, there's Lyft, or, I mean, you could honestly hire a driver to drive you around. And I know it sounds impractical.
Yeah, but he would still be drunk.
Well, I mean, but you're talking about taking...
drinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, he still has the dependency issues, but at least it would take him out from behind the wheel when he chooses to drive. And you're seeing all of these now it's a pattern, right? I mean, the DUI in 2012... the hit and run, the infamous hit and run in 2015.
Well, they need to take his license.
They need to take his license. He doesn't need to be driving until
Yeah.
he gets a handle on this, you know. And for a guy like that, he has, like I said, he has the means, he has the resources. Even if those resources come from the UFC, even if Dana White's serious about it, and that's his guy, and he's bailed him out so many times, provide a company car for him. To, you know, provide a UFC car. Whenever they used to come to the radio station,
put it in the contract.
Yeah.
As long as you're under this promotion, you have to do these things.
We're going to give you a car and, you know, everything, and it's not so you can have a car. It's so we protect you and we protect other people. You know, that would eliminate at least him being behind the wheel for as much as someone could control. I mean, ultimately, grown people are going to do whatever they want to do, you know, but you got to start taking things away from people. That license has to be gone. And, you know, things of this nature.
I don't know what the laws are, but it seems to me one DUI or DWI especially is bad. Multiple ones, and you still have your license. Like at a certain point, shouldn't they just take his license from him? And another thing is, when your car insurance is up, or your license is up, you get multiple notices. Like you get one like 30 days out, and then you get one that say, hey, your stuff is lapsed. Who's checking the mail at his house? Why does he keep driving with suspended? Why he keep riding dirty?
Yeah.
That I do not understand. People I know who ride dirtier because they waiting for some scratch to like build up so that they can pay to get their tags or something, or they got tickets or whatever. This fool has the money.
Yeah.
He's just a knucklehead.
Yeah, it seems like that. Well, you know, you see a lot of elite athletes kind of struggle with that. You know, that air of invincibility. You know, I can do whatever I want. But it doesn't help whenever you are surrounded by people who enable that say yes to everything. I mean, you've been so good for so long. You're the champ. You know, you're undefeated practically. You know, you're this, you're that. You're the greatest of all time. At some point, you've got to have somebody in that circle that says, "Hey, look, you know, this has got to stop, bro. You're either going to get yourself killed or you're going to kill other people, or possibly both at the same time." You know, and you feel for him.
It's wicked tragic.
Yeah, you feel for him because he does have a family, and I know his family loves him and cares for him, and I know he has friends that do genuinely care for him and love the guy. You just want him to love himself enough so he gets out of his own way. And you hate to see that for a guy like Jon Jones, who is so ridiculously talented, and when he is on, he is so incredibly charming, and you know, you talked about it, still a young, handsome guy who's got the world at his fingertips. Super smart, except for
doing dumb stuff.
There you go. Speaking of doing dumb stuff. Speaking of doing dumb stuff, and I don't know if this is even in the same category. Let's talk about your boy, Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders puts out a video on Twitter, I believe. Twitter?
I saw it on Twitter. I don't know what he initially
whatever. He put it somewhere. Basically informing guys, showing husbands and dads and men in general how to properly smack your woman whenever she's getting on your nerves during this quarantine. He says he meant it as humor. Of course, he, you know, is tone deaf when it comes to domestic violence. What is your take on Mr. Billy Joe Saunders?
It was a despicable thing to do. He used the word mouthy too when she gets mouthy, and actually to think that using violence against women is a funny thing just speaks to someone's character. He could have, sometimes off-color jokes get told between friends and family members. I get that, but he posted that. And so now he's accountable for what he did. I just saw some numbers out of France, and I'm sure that it's going to be similar in this country, that domestic violence has spiked up to 30% during these quarantines. You're seeing it in other countries. It's definitely happening here. I saw there was a woman who works a domestic violence hotline, spoke to it, and definitely she said the numbers are up. We don't have the actual data yet, but there are women who are stuck right now with partners, and they have nowhere to go. You can't necessarily just put someone out of their home during a quarantine. You can have them arrested. It creates other burdens, but this is a very dangerous time for women who are in violent relationships with men who abuse them. And to make light of that for some clicks makes me really, 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 really want Canelo to whoop his ass when they do meet. Because these are things that he doesn't understand, but he seems to understand punching people in the face. So let that happen.
Yeah, I don't like you said. We've got circles of friends, and I'm sure between you and your circles of friends, there's different jokes that have been around. I mean, you say different things, whatever, because everyone knows that you're joking in that moment, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Whenever you do stuff like that, especially at a time when you can honestly say that the world is watching, all we have are our screens, right? This is how we're connecting. So we're all just, we're staring into these little bad boys right now, just everything that people are doing. To make light of that in general during a normal time would be off-putting and I mean, just really in poor taste. To do it now when, like you said, so many people can't. There are so many people that are trapped, and it's daily hell. But this is a new kind of hell. When they are trapped with people, and especially if those people are out of work, and those people put their hands on other people whenever the world is getting to them, and a lot of people are trapped in situations right now, and they cannot get out. And it is just at this moment, that's deplorable. That's sickening. And I know that I believe the fallout is his boxing license somewhere was suspended. I believe.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I believe that his license was suspended somewhere. One of the boxing regulators, I want to say the WBO, but I may be wrong on that. I think they suspended his license, and honestly, I think more should happen to him. But in this kind of world, nothing seems to be over the line. There were already people on Twitter defending him. It's a joke. People lighten up. You don't have a sense of humor if you're not laughing at it. All right.
Right. I don't have a sense of humor.
So, that's easy for me to point out the people who probably do hit their spouses. So.
Right. Exactly.
There you go. Yes. Speak it up. Someone's getting hit back there.
He's wrapping up Taekwondo.
He's doing Taekwondo. Yeah. There you go.
I'm gonna let him put on his little equipment too when I beat him up on the playground. I'm gonna let him put on his headgear and have a weapon out there.
Yeah.
I'll let him do that.
How do you segue out of that? How do you segue out of this conversation? I don't know.
Well, Clarissa Shields actually presented a really good segue out of the conversation.
Okay.
She had like a 30-second tutorial for women. If you are being abused and someone is attacking you, you don't hit high, you hit low.
Right.
And even though like she did that in jest, I am telling you, there are women out there who saw that as a means to protect themselves.
Right. Absolutely.
Because these are crazy times that we're in. Really crazy.
Can I say how awesome, it kind of pivot from that to Clarissa Shields, how awesome it is that Clarissa has kind of stepped into this light of being not just a female boxing representative, but just a boxing ambassador. And she's taken this whole thing on, and she's just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to make my way. I'm going to burn my own trail. And she's just kind of, taking this mantle on and just running with it, man. Just how exciting is that?
I think she's also maturing. And so I think she's making better decisions with how she is presenting herself as well. It doesn't just come off as like a stream of consciousness rant. She's been deliberate. It's even the way that she responded to Billy Joe. I think that we're seeing her grow up as a woman and then also grow as a professional.
Yeah, it's really impressive to watch. And we kind of talk about Tyson Fury and mental health and different banners that these athletes pick up. and Clarissa Shields has stepped up and being a champion for not only female boxers, but just females in general. And then even just from there, leaving gender out of it, she just stepped up for her sport, just stepping up for athletes. I mean, and just becoming, you could see this evolution, with her, as like you said, she matures, her professional career matures. It's really exciting to watch because there's not many athletes, maybe outside of LeBron and Kobe and people like that you get to watch from a young age. When she was first making headlines, Junior Olympics and all these things, to now where she is and where she's going. It's really impressive to see.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see her and Layla, given the nature of events right now, nor did we need to. But I think her and Layla could use this time to actually have a sit down and have some dialogue, and or Skype. I don't know. They can have a 6-foot social distancing sit down and really take this time to see how the two of them can work together to bring women's boxing to a greater platform.
Yeah. And they, honestly should. I mean, you talked about two great names, the past and present. If anything, we don't need to see them in the ring. Like you said, we don't need to see that happen. What we probably do need to see is them forging ahead. You see so much in combat sports more than other sports in general. I look towards the NFL collective bargaining agreement that was just passed, and they were saying that almost 22% of the eligible players that could have voted didn't vote. They didn't even vote for their own CBA that could be, the difference between millions of dollars between them and the owners and then, work stuff and everything else. They didn't vote. You see it a lot in combat sports where everyone seems to be out for himself or herself and everything. But I think a lot of these, it's going to take these elite fighters, the Conor McGregors, the Clarissa Shields, the people like this, to step up and step together and say, look, to progress these sports, we seemingly had these same ills over and over. Yeah. People messing with money, people messing with drugs, and the lack of drug testing and a lot of high profile fights and things like that. We're going to have to start banding together and start getting some of these things, because let's face it, if they don't ask for it, if they don't demand it, there's not too many promoters that are going to step up and say, hey, let me pay $60,000 for some VADA testing or some USADA testing and things like that. I think it needs to be done, and I hopefully they had that conversation and at least move forward that kind of way.
Yeah, I think it'd be really smart. Did you see, brought up the testing? You see that UFC is suspending VADA testing through the whole, however long this quarantine or coronavirus is going to last, or COVID-19. So I think I don't mind there not being testing, because logistically, flying around the administrators of the test, showing up to somebody's house, going in their house, exposing them. I understand that logistically, but there's going to be one knucklehead, maybe two knuckleheads, who are going to try to beat the odds, and they look at that window and now they're not going to be tested for a little while, and they're going to be peeing wherever they want to pee.
Hey, look, man, the folks that do this stuff, they're risking it all anyway. They risk it all whenever they know the tests are coming. They risk it all, because you are talking about millions of dollars at stake in a lot of their cases. Anyway, some of them you're talking about a couple $100. I don't know why you're doing that. But I think if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, whether this is around or not. But like you said, to put the undue burden on the testers and the people like that, I mean, there's no reason to have people flying around and interacting with, because you can't be 6 feet away and have someone pee in a cup for you. Nah, you're not. You're not coming in my house. You ain't coming in here. You ain't.
So nah. I don't know where you been.
6 in the morning coming to my house watching me pee. No, man. I don't care if you got gloves and a mask on. It doesn't matter. It don't matter at this point.
And there's a mask shortage too, so why even bother?
Yeah.
So I get it, but I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah.
When some tests come back hot.
Yeah. Especially when they first get it back going on. People are like we see with Jon Jones. I mean, he's this case because he was busted by the PD, but you're going to see so many people that are sitting in their house trying whatever. They're tripping balls on whatever they're on, or sticking needles wherever they need to stick needles, or they feel like they need to stick needles right now. So we'll see when it all comes out. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what the verdict is. Because it's all out of competition, so I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, Smoke all the weed you want.
There's one of the leagues. Yeah, isn't there a league that's not going to be testing for weed right now? Maybe
baseball.
it is UFC. Okay, that's what it is.
Major League Baseball removed. Well, they removed it in general. They removed marijuana infractions from their rules going forward. Well, so
yeah.
But honestly, as more and more states enact it, at some point, the federal government's going to have to step in and say, look, there's enough states that are positive for it, so it's just going to be federally mandated, and we're going to have to take that out. Because you see guys, I mean, how many years of Nick Diaz's career were stolen for weed offenses? And Nick and Nate Diaz are kind of knuckleheads or whatever, but to have years of your livelihood taken away for a thing that's legal in 20 something states now. I mean, what does it matter at this point?
You know what's not? You know what the tipping point is? The tipping point is this whole so-called stimulus package that the government is handing out. They're gonna want their money back, and so they're gonna become the dope man. That's what's going to happen. The federal government is going to figure out how to excise a tax on weed, and that's going to become legal nationwide. And that's how they're going to make their money back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you don't think for 1 second that the federal government and people in general, other states were watching when Colorado became the first state, and all these other states started enacting it, all that money that they started bringing in. Look, money moves everything, okay? And so as money goes, when politicians figure out that they can put their grubby, dirty little COVID-covered fingers in the marijuana pie, they all start doing it because they don't, why give up all that? You're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in tax money.
A lot of money.
Why do it? I mean, here in Nevada, of course, it's a cluster because, I mean, everyone was promised that a lot of this money was going to go to the schools. And
it's on a rainy day fund.
It's really weird. It all collects up here, and it never seems to trickle down to the schools because the schools here we're just in a $60 million deficit.
Yeah, teachers not even getting paid, man.
Even though we have casinos who mint money, even though we have marijuana is legal and it's taxed to all high hell, even though you have all of these rules in place, the money still never makes it to the kids where it's supposed to be. But your politicians, listen here, folks, and I know we're going on a political rant here. Your politicians will always find $1 billion to build you a new stadium down the street for the Raiders.
Sure enough. Or throw a hockey facility in the middle of a suburban area. They find that money.
Yeah, they finding money left and right. That's weird whenever you got a sports team, Mayor Goodman's here going, ooh, look at it. Look what we found in the couch cushions. Right. Look at what we found in the couch cushions right here. We found you a blank check, right? Whatever you want. So I mentioned we were going to chat with Bryan Salmond from KSNV. He's the main sports anchor. And we're going to get his thoughts on Jon Jones and, the whole Khabib thing. And, because Bryan has a relationship with Dana White. He knew Dana back in the day when they were first starting out. So, he does, have a better kind of insight than a lot of people would. So we're going to cut real quick. We're going to talk to Bryan Salmond, get his thoughts. Let's check it out what Mr. Salmond has to say about the 2 or 3 things that are happening in the MMA world right now. All right, I'm joined now by my guy, the guy himself, man, Bryan Salmond, KSNV 3 Action News. I like that. Action News. Main sports anchor, Bryan Salmond. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Jeremy? Are you doing all right, my man? Look at that big cheese you got on your face there. You're laughing as if smiling because you're happy to see me. That's what it is.
That's it, man. I'm so happy to see. You know what? After what? This is week 3 or 4 of this crap. I'm happy to see anyone, man. I'm talking to people around my neighborhood that they look like murderers, all kinds of people, and I'm just like waving to them, like, "Hey, what's going on, everyone?"
How you doing, friend? Nice to see that you're not somebody I haven't ever talked to before. I don't know you, but I'm talking to you now. Why not?
Yeah, they don't even wave back, but that's all right. They ain't even talking back to me, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I'm like, hey, if you get bored later, I'm gonna leave my back gate unlocked. Y'all just come around. I get some target practice. Y'all can have fun running. It's all exercise, so it's good. We're doing what we can in quarantine, man.
Oh, that's right. You're from Texas. That means you got guns.
Yeah, man. I'm white and from the South, so guns and NASCAR and all that stuff should be. Yeah. I think the kids are in a dune buggy in the back here. Well, yeah, they're good. They're good.
NASCAR. You do not like NASCAR. You're not a NASCAR.
No.
Are you a NASCAR?
No, absolutely not.
I think you don't like NASCAR.
No way in hell, man. What are you gonna do? What are you talking about? I don't understand how people talk about that sport, man. We're going left. We're going fast and to the left. Fast and to the left.
Yes. Man. Okay, he's trying to get in front of that car. Okay, he's trying to get in front of him. He's trying to go around him. Trying to go around him. He's going left. He's going fast.
He's going to pass him? Nope, he's not going to pass him. Okay, well, I don't know. It's a stupid
do that for 500 laps.
Yeah, let's do this 800 times for 4 hours.
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah.
Although I will say this, you have to go to at least to experience it once.
No, I've been to NASCAR weekend here in Vegas. Of course, we have 2 of those now, and the bull ring and things like that. It's really, I guess, it's exciting when you first experience it. And I think everyone should go to it at least once. Go experience a race at least once, and you may like it. It's not for me personally, but I'm better than most people. So what else can I say? So.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, you are, sir.
Thank you. The acknowledgement is everything I've ever needed. Thank you.
That is funny. I love it.
You know what, man? Speaking of being better than everyone, man, I don't think we're ever going to see Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson ever. This is the 5th time this fight has been made that they've now, Khabib has pulled himself out at 249. I mean, there's no way it was going to happen anyway. Yeah. Is this fight, as they say, cursed?
Yeah. You know what? First of all, kudos to you on the segue. Yeah. Very well done. You are a professional, my friend.
Thank you.
But you know what? I mean, first of all, the Khabib making the main event, that's not going to happen. I can't see that happening. Obviously, he can't get out of Russia. He said that now. Dana White's still trying to make this card happen, which, I mean, I appreciate him trying to be the only sports game on, sports entity on around the world, basically. I don't think are they playing sports anywhere?
I don't
know if they. Yeah. So, I mean, that fight card that they had in Brazil was beautiful just because it was something to watch. It was real live television. But him trying to go to Abu Dhabi and, because that's what Khabib said that he thought it was going to be, and that's why he went there, and then said that they're going to close that border. So you're going to be stuck there. So he went home. And I talked to Uriah Hall, who's supposed to be on this card as well. Mm-hmm. He's down living in Texas now, your home state. Oh. And he has no idea what's going to go on with this thing. It's not going to happen. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, different things. I mean, Dana White's saying that he and Joe Rogan and different guys have come out saying, yeah, we're absolutely doing this. It may happen in an airport hangar. It may happen, just 2 or 3 people around. You mentioned it just a while ago. I mean, you kind of commended Dana White for trying to press forward with this, but, is it a commendable thing or is it kind of foolhardy? I mean, how do you keep people relatively safe, from this virus that's getting everyone sick? I mean, what are your thoughts on Dana White trying to really press forward with these events?
You know what? I mean, if you know Dana White, you've been around Dana White or followed his career and his personality, if you tell him he can't do something, he's just going to try that much harder to get that done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's to be expected. But the fact that he's I like the fact that he's trying to put it on for our entertainment. But I mean, for real, I think at some point you got to cut your losses, which I'm sure are great. Because I mean, what fight night in Columbus, fight night. What's the fight night in England or London or whatever, and then this card. So it's what those 3 events that have been canceled in the UFC.
Yeah, 3 events. I mean, a couple fight nights. Yeah, absolutely.
So he's losing money. You're really cutting your losses, literally. So I think you just have to go ahead and do that, man. Like I feel bad for him because I want to watch fights, just like you want to watch fights.
Right.
So yeah, I feel for him, man. I feel for him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, and if anyone, you know what, this is what we've grown accustomed to with Dana White, like you said, man. If you spend any kind of time around Dana, whether it's for just 5-minute scrums or one-on-ones or any kind of personal time, you know this guy. If you tell him no, he can't do something. I mean, he's, you know, him and the Fertittas, obviously, and a bunch of other people behind the scenes they willed the UFC into existence, basically, you know, just going against conventional, conventional rules and laws at the time. And when UFC started, it wasn't legal anywhere, and turned it into this multi-billion-dollar brand and industry and everything. So I appreciate that. Like you said, I really do, man, because I'm bored as hell right now. But
we're struggling. We are
struggling, you know, and I can't imagine guys like you who still are doing this full time. I mean, what the hell do you get up and talk about every single night? You know, it makes me wonder.
Yeah, no. You know what's funny about that? That's true. Everyone at the station says that to us. People just say that in general. But there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going. Like, for instance, today, I have 3 minutes and 45 seconds, 4 minutes to fill, what I usually do at 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you what I have in my show tonight. Like, right off the top, I'm talking about the fact that Khabib is not going to be at UFC 249. I mean, they announced that yesterday, but today I think it's almost been official, and kind of talk about the people that may be in the main event. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to an interview that I had with Uriah Hall that I taped via Skype, and to have him talk about how he's doing his training still, because he's supposed to be on that card.
Right.
So I got that. And then we talked to some Amber. She worked today for 2 hours. And she did an interview with one of the Las Vegas Aces basketball players who's just did an interview with her. So we have that. And then Wimbledon got cut down. Yeah. They got closed. So, I mean, that's a show. But, I mean, I did an interview with a dude, Troy Brown Jr., who's from Las Vegas, plays for the Washington Wizards, basketball player. Did a nice long interview with him. I had Francis Ngannou. I had the guys from MMA Junkie. Like I'm getting it done, baby. I'm working. I'm talking to my guy Germ.
That's it, man. That's it, man. Well, you know, and speaking of, you kind of mentioned, I mean, possible replacements for Khabib have been Justin Gaethje is the number one name on the list. I mean, what do you think about that potential fight, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje?
That's a great fight. That's a great fight, man. Like, if they could somehow make that happen, Gaethje, that dude, he fights. You know what I mean? Like, yes, exactly. He gets in there and makes it happen. He scraps. Tony Ferguson, like, has he ever been in a bad fight?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, so you put those two together. I mean, that fight, it looks on paper to be as good as the Khabib Ferguson fight. It's just that you want to see those guys fight. You know what I mean? So
right.
I think almost anyone you throw in that fight that's a top contender makes it a good fight, honestly.
Man, I like the potential of that fight. I mean, Justin Gaethje with anybody, Tony Ferguson with anybody. I mean, that's money in the bank right there, as they say. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed, number one, everyone stays safe, all that good stuff, man. But, you know, if it does come together, if April 18th does happen, I hope it's Gaethje and Ferguson, and I hope they put on a damn show like we know they would. And before,
yes.
Go ahead.
I gotta ask you this. How about the damn Wiley Zhang Joanna Jacek fight?
Oh, man.
The Wiley Zhang fight. How good was that fight?
That was, I mean, hands down. A lot of people saying it's probably the best female fight they've ever seen. That probably goes down as one of the best fights I've ever seen. Total. You know,
period.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking at least top 15, top 10 fights of all time, man. I mean, easily one of the best fights. Really, it shows you how far I think the women's division has come. Women's MMA has come. When Ronda and all of them were first coming into it, it was kind of, anyone besides Cyborg was basically grappling and things of that nature. But now it's come on. Now you have bangers in there, man. And Joanna and Weili, I mean, they just, hey, let me bang, bro. Just let me bang, bro. That's all they did.
And I know. And so technical, though. Like, it was so technical. I just like the crispness of the punches. Oh, my gosh. The kicks. Wiley with that left hook, man. Jacek with the low kicks. Her hands. That was just such a great. Oh, that was a great fight.
Such a beautiful fight, man. And you're absolutely right there. The technicality, again, it shows you these levels that the women have progressed on the last few years. The training opportunities are better and better for female fighters, and they're showing you, man. I mean, we wondered who Weili Zhang really was. I mean, records sometimes in modern MMA now can be deceiving a little bit. But now we're seeing, okay, well, does she get lucky with Andrade? No, she is the real deal. She'll put that 2-piece and a biscuit on you, boy.
Hot and spicy, too, huh?
Yeah. Whether you want hot and spicy, mild, you want that macaroni and cheese, what you want on there, boy? She gonna that red beans and rice and everything else, man. A large soda and them dry ass biscuits, however you want it.
Grape soda.
And before we go, man, I know you got a show to prepare for, man. I gotta ask you real quick. Your man, Jon Jones, he's in trouble once again. Arrested March 26th in Albuquerque after, get this, reports of gunfire. He gets arrested. He pleads a deal out. Just came down. He's basically getting house arrest for the time being, and it's going to be having supervision over the last year. And he's got drug and alcohol counseling via Skype, via video, basically, for the next year. But what is going on with Jon Jones?
Man, I talked to these guys about him as well. Like, he just can't seem to get out his own way. It's sad, too. I mean, because he literally is, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. He's undefeated. I mean, no one cares about that. Was it Ryan Bader?
Mark Hamill. Mark
Hamill. It was Mark. Not Mark Hamill, but...
Not Mark Hamill. Matt Hamill. Matt Hamill. He beat up Luke after that terrible ass movie. Yeah.
He used the force and beat up Luke Skywalker, man. Oh man, that's why I get his ass out of here. No, but yeah, Matt Hamill. Matter of fact, I was at that fight. But yeah, like, he's basically undefeated. But to go through the problems he's going through, I think somebody said it best. I mean, who was that? My guy George from MMA Junkie is like, up until recently, he'd had a fight like every couple months. Like for the last 18 months, he's been fighting on a pretty regular basis. So he's had something to train for, something to do. And him getting back in the house, in the home, doing nothing, quarantine, he couldn't get away from his demons. It's sad to see, man, because you've seen this movie before, right? Well, right. Just a different person. You've seen it before, man. Daryl Strawberry, Lawrence Taylor. He's too old for you because you're like a young buckaroo, but still. You hate to see it, man. Guys have done it before. I don't feel bad for him. I feel sad in the fact that he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you hate to see it because he's still young. I mean, he's still early 30s, 31, 32 years old, something like that. He still has so much ahead of him. But like you said, the only person that seems to be able to beat Jon Jones is Jon Jones. I mean, you look at his laundry list here now. DUI in 2012, a hit and run, the infamous hit and run in 2015, drag racing stop in 2016, and now this DWI. The other charges got dropped, the deadly, use of a deadly weapon and open. How you just going to drive around and start shooting at nothing? That's the crazy part.
And then be drunk on top of it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, does he think that everyone in Albuquerque knows who Jon Jones is?
Yeah.
You know, and you can get away with that there. All the stuff that you've done in that particular city, like I almost feel like he should leave Albuquerque. You know what I mean? Like, you go find somewhere else. You should. I don't know.
Well, I think Chael Sonnen said it best. You know, I mean, Chael and Jon fought, you know, back in the day a few years ago and everything. Yeah. And they've kind of remained pseudo friends since then. But Chael said it best. He said, you know what? You should never drive again. You should sell your vehicles and you should just use Uber. And that would eliminate 99% of the problems, you know, that, you know, with the DUIs and the DWIs. Now, he still has to face his issues with alcohol and that dependency and the issues like that. But, I mean, I guess I've never understood drinking and driving with famous people to begin with. I mean,
I don't get it. No.
Whenever I go to the bar or something like that, I use Uber. I don't understand why it's so hard to hit an app, the phone, and
especially now.
Yeah.
Like nowadays. I mean, back in the day when you had to get a taxi or, you know, had that service where you call and a friend will pick you up or whatever it was, like moms that would come pick up people. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Nowadays with Uber, like, come on, man. Like, come on, dog. Come on, man. I hate it. It's not even a funny thing, but come on, man.
Right. Come on. Really? You ain't got a couple bucks? I mean, it's like a $5 ride, man. Come on. All right, man. Well,
you got a Bentley, dog.
Why? Unless somebody drive you. You got teammates. You got friends. I mean, somebody can't roll with you. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, man.
Yeah.
You hate to see it, man, and you feel for the guy. You don't want him hurting anyone else. You don't want him hurting himself. And, you know, time will tell, man. I mean, addiction, and I can say this personally, you know, with my brother and everything, addiction is a lifelong battle. And I really do hope that Jon Jones gets the better of it and stays clean and sober. And you know, but maybe he needs to start changing some things around, you know, the company he keeps. You know, and I hope he takes those lessons, those video counseling seriously.
I could not agree with you more. And yeah, the substance abuse, man, whatever it is, alcohol, or if it's something more, I mean, you got to battle. Smoke weed, man. And I don't even smoke, but I mean, smoke weed. Like that should be, to me, that should be the drug of choice for people that have a hard time battling alcohol. I'm for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do something, I'm just saying, do weed, man. Like, I don't know. I think that's a better choice.
Well, you know, it's so funny you said that they, the Albuquerque PD did say that he can continue to smoke weed as long as he keeps his medical card with him and all that stuff. So, you know, just, you know, get high and, you know, go sit on the trampoline like we used to do and just stare at things. Oh man, man, I know you got so much to do, man. I know you're super busy and everything. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, you know, taking some time out, talking the few things we got to talk about in combat sports right now.
Yeah.
So maybe on the other side of this, maybe we can hook back up.
Of course we can, man. Like you already know, man. Anytime you need me, I got you. And hopefully next time the video for the Skype will work perfectly.
Hey man, this is love lockdown, man. We doing the best we can, you know. I'm sitting in a dirty office, you know. I think they got you holed up at a Dollar General over there. I don't know, man. So I mean, we just doing what we can.
That's funny. I got my office is dirty as well. I do got monies over here though. See those dollars over there, right there?
Okay.
See how we do it in our sports office over here. If we have any kind of disagreement on sports, you got to bet $1, and if you lose, you have to sign that dollar and we put it up on the wall.
That's shame forever, huh?
Exactly. And the only $2 in this office are sitting up on my wall, which means that means I know everything I'm talking about. So.
Man, well, when we start the looting, I know I'm gonna go get $2 and from that office, man.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, B.
All right, be good, Jon, my man.
All right, there you go, Bryan Salmond. B, my guy, always making time for us, man. We still haven't had him live in studio yet.
Makes no sense.
And the way we're going, we're not ever going to have him in
yeah, we're never, you know. Well, you know, 2021, you know, it's looking good. It's looking good.
It is. Everything's being pushed. You know, the things that can be pushed to the fall are being pushed to the fall. You pray that this stuff doesn't creep back up, but there's not something else that creeps back up. First and foremost, you want safety and health and all that for everyone, and you want all the well-being. But at some point, this has got to give. And, you know, the economic impact on boxing and MMA, the top stars are always going to be paid. You got to look at the lesser-known fighters and, you know, how they're going to recoup this money, what they're doing for money in the meantime, because you ain't got no job. I mean, how are you pulling money in? Yeah.
Like, you can't even go and, like, haul some trees at Home Depot right now. Right? Maybe you can. But a lot of the fallback opportunities that these fighters would have, you know, they've gone away. Stipe is probably the only fighter that I can think of that has some job security right now. He's a fireman. Stipe Miocic is a fireman. He got a job.
Yeah, Stipe and Conor McGregor, thanks to that Irish whiskey, I mean, it may taste like piss, but it's...
Have you had it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Okay. I'm not going to try.
That's not my official review. I'm just... I was just being colorful with the rest of it. No, but, you know, unless you have different sources of income, you got to feel for the fighters who are out there who... you don't fight, you don't get checks, you know, and boxing promoters, you know, maybe they're taking a little bit, you don't know about the undisclosed money that they're maybe giving their fighters or something like that, but I know a lot of fighters are probably hurting, so you hope this clears up soon. But like you said, 2021 is shaping up. If it all gets pushed, then it gets pushed, but we're going to have a lot of fights. I mean, we saw Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder 3 get pushed from July to maybe the fall. Depends on how long.
There's going to be a small window where promoters are going to try to jam in as much as they can because people are worried about this second round of COVID-19 come when the weather gets cool again. And so like September, October, it's going to be jam-packed. We might even see like live events happening on a Wednesday night because people, and I think about promotions like Top Rank and even DAZN, Golden Boy, where like these promotions are primarily cash poor. Like they're making money like per event. Mm-hmm. And so if anybody was close to shutting their doors before, man, because I mean, PBC and Top Rank spent a whole lot of loot on that promotion for Wilder and Fury. And, you know, they didn't blow the doors off with those numbers that they actually did. Yeah,
and you look at, you know, places like ESPN and DAZN are probably fine as far as subscriptions and apps. You know, they're probably getting on play and some sign-ups and things like that. But, I mean, again, DAZN put all this money out because they were basing it on subscriptions and subscription money coming in. And now you've got nothing. I mean, you've got nothing going on. So, you know, I know they're probably not in trouble right now, not like people like you and I are like, oh, okay, what the hell are we going to do? You know, I'm about to bring my, you know, pen out there and start stabbing people for TP. But
I got a lot of TP. We can bargain. I got a lot.
Oh, you got? I got meat.
You got a lot.
You got meat. I got some TP. We can exchange.
You know, I get down with plants. You know, my kids do like they do eat animals though.
Well, I did just mow my lawn, so I got a whole bag of clippings out there. That's like a side dish. Okay. You know, you can do side dishes.
You got some Lysol? Because I'm down on Lysol.
I do have hand sanitizer. That's weirdly enough. We were fully stocked up on that. We have like 3 different kinds. But, you know, for the most part, it's all shaping up. So there you go. Jon Jones, Billy Joe Saunders, get it together, knuckleheads.
You big dummy.
You guys, come on, get it together. And, you know, this was fun. This is actually kind of fun. It's fun to talk sports again, right?
Yeah. I know. You know, I've been thinking a lot about fighters and how they manage their lives during this downtime because a lot of them are in the business because, you know, things didn't go so right for them.
Right.
Or they have a different kind of mindset. Fighters can get into a real dark place pretty easily. And so really am concerned about some of my friends out there in the industry and how they manage to stay sane through this and stay well through all of this as well. So just crossing my fingers that everybody makes it to the other side and in good condition.
Yeah, we mentioned it a while back on the show, how mental fighters are and how they can be they're mental creatures. It's all about preparation. It's all about that mental mindset for most of them. So, we hear that. And so, like you said, you hope everyone comes out safe and sound no matter what, but especially fighters, because they can get a lot of them can go to some deep, dark places and everything. So you want everyone else to be safe and sound. So, well, that's it. That's the sports for right now. Whenever we have more, we'll hop back on and everything. And I love that, your son is having fun doing Taekwondo right now. He's doing his tias.
That's the little girl.
Oh, that's her? I thought he was.
Her now.
Is she beating him up? Is she beating him up? Okay.
Yeah, I hear her. He said something, stop grabbing my neck. So she probably jumped on him.
You got your own WrestleMania. There you go.
I told her earlier to stop doing that, and I said, "Why do you keep messing with him? Like, don't you think doesn't it matter to you if you hurt him?" And she goes, "Girl, nah." That is my child's apple treat.
That is
girl, nah.
100%.
Sound like something I would say, huh?
Yeah, that is exactly you. That's you in an even smaller form. There you go. That's amazing. Well, so that's it for this little quarantine episode of Levels. The Sportsnista, Cassandra Cousineau, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much to our guest, Bryan Salmond, KSNV main sports anchor at 3 Action News. I like how they put Action News in there. So, have fun, be safe, don't get within 6 feet of me or I'll pop you with an eraser or something like that. So we'll see you next time, folks.